Hi everyone, sorry I can't be with you today. This video is meant to go over your homework from page 306. The odd ones were in the back of the book as usual, and so I hope that helped you learn how to graph or make sure your answers were correct. But just to go over the even ones, and just a note, if you had no problems with a question, you can kind of skip around this video. So don't feel obligated to watch the entire video, but you can kind of skip around to get the answers, and if you need more help, then obviously listen to the explanation. So number 4 was the first even one, and you had to graph 2 is less than or equal to g plus 4, which is less than 7. Now, whenever you see something like this in between, that's an and statement. So really, I can write this as 2 is less than or equal to g plus 4, and g plus 4 is less than 7. I'm just kind of taking it apart. Here's the left part, then the right part. And you have to solve for each part. So this one simplifies to g is greater than or equal to negative 2. And I kind of skipped a little bit there, but you should be able to solve that. And g is less than 3. So the and, if you remember, is an overlap. So this is actually going to be in between negative 2 and 3. So just to label a number line, so negative 2, close circle, 3, open circle, and then just connect in between. Another way you can solve this, some of you may like this better, I didn't show this to you yesterday, but if you want, in order to solve for g, you need to subtract 4. As long as you subtract 4 from every spot, so it's not just like an equals where there's two sides, you have the left side, middle, and the right side, you can get the answer. And so negative 2 is less than or equal to g is less than 3. Now you can clearly see the g is in the middle of negative 2 and 3. So that's just another method for you. And I'll go through the rest a little bit quicker. Number 8. This one was y minus 1 is greater than or equal to 7, or y plus 3 is less than negative 1. When you solve this, you get y is greater than or equal to 8, or y is less than negative 4. What this means is you're going to shade to the right of 8, to the left of negative 4, and you have both on your final answer. And so I'm actually going to count by 2s on this number line so I can make sure I have enough space. 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, negative 2, negative 4, negative 6, negative 8. And so y is greater than or equal to 8 would be from 8 to the right, and less than negative 4, open circle, to the left. And remember, the OR graphs have both of them on that. So this is actually your final answer. Number 10 was negative 5 is less than 3p plus 7, which is less than or equal to 22. This translates to negative 5 is less than 3p plus 7, and 3p plus 7 is less than or equal to 22. When you solve this, you get that 3p is greater than negative 12, so p is greater than negative 4, and 3p is less than or equal to 15, and so p is less than or equal to 5. If you solve the other method, we can subtract 7 from everywhere, so you get negative 12 is less than 3p, which is less than or equal to 15. Divide everything by 3. And so we see that p is going to be in between negative 4 and 5. And so open circle on negative 4, close circle on 5, and then we're shading in the middle. Make sure when you're doing this, if it's an and statement like this, there are no arrows. So it's not like I put -4, went this way, and then put an arrow on it, and then 5 went this way and put an arrow on it. The arrow means it continues forever, and we don't want that. So make sure you don't have arrows in there. So okay, number 12. You get, this was 5h plus a -4 greater than or equal to 6, and 7h plus 11 less than 32. So 5h is greater than or equal to 10, and 7h is less than 21. So h is greater than or equal to 2, and h is less than 3. So greater than or equal to 2 and less than 3. This is actually a very small graph, so I'm not going to bother with the whole entire graph. But the gist of it is that we have greater than or equal to 2, which is this way, less than 3, which is this way. So that's the entire graph, just that little bit between 2 and 3. Number 14 was -4a plus 13 is greater than or equal to 29, and 10 is less than 6a minus 14. Solving for a, you get -4a is greater than or equal to 16, and 24 is less than 6a. Remember, when you divide both sides by a negative, we have to divide by -4 here. The sign switches, so it's going to become less than or equal to. And then this is 4 is less than a, which means a is greater than 4. This one was a little bit hard, I will be honest with you. So if you want to think about this, how can a be less than or equal to -4 and a is greater than 4? Actually, sorry, this isn't that hard. I read it a little bit wrong. If both of these were 4, this is a little bit tricky, but they're not the same number. So graph like usual, -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 2, 3, 4, 5. So less than or equal to -4. I'm sorry, this one is actually a little tricky. Sorry to go back and forth on you with that. So that gets you this part. Greater than 4 is over here. Now you may be tempted to think this is the final answer. This would be correct if this was or, but it's not, it's and. So what I want to ask you is, where do they intersect? Because that's what and means, the intersection. Hopefully you're answering now that they intersect nowhere. So if they don't intersect anywhere, your graph actually looks like this. This might surprise you. There's your answer. I mean, I didn't mean to get rid of the numbers, but there's no shading. Your answer is actually no solution. There is no solution to this. There's no way that you can be less than or equal to -4 and greater than 4 at the same time. So, sorry, 14 was tricky. Number 16, they asked you to write an inequality for a speed limit of 70 miles per hour and a minimum speed. I know we don't have minimum speeds here, but if you've ever gone up to Michigan, I think in Ohio as well, they have a minimum speed limit similar to this. And they want you to write an inequality. Well, think about it. We have to drive below the speed limit. I know some people don't, but we're supposed to drive below the speed limit. So this would be x has to be less than or equal to 70. Your speed has to be less than or equal to 70. Well, here minimum means you have to drive faster than this. Your speed must be greater than 40. Is this an and or an or? Hopefully you realize that this is and because we're supposed to do both. So if you really want, you can actually write this all in one as 40 is less than or equal to x less than or equal to 70. This makes sense because our speed, x, must be between 40 and 70. Number 18. This one gave you the answer was 1 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 4. So you had a graph that looked like this. Because the graph is in between 1 and 4, and it has a closed circle on 1 and 4, this is your answer. Number 20, I'm actually just going to give you guys the answers, and hopefully you see why. Number 20 is x is less than 0, or x is greater than or equal to 3. Number 22, x is less than or equal to 3, or x is greater than or equal to 6. And then number 24, 26, 30, and 32, I'll go through a bit. Okay, number 24, you had to do a bit more solving. This was 3b plus 2 is less than 5b minus 6, which is less than or equal to 2b plus 9. So what you have here is the left side, you get 3b plus 2 is less than 5b minus 6, and 5b minus 6 is less than or equal to 2b plus 9. So for each of these we need to solve. And so over on the left-hand side, if we rearrange this, we get negative 2b is less than negative 8. Don't forget when we divide by a negative number, the sign switches. So b is greater than 4. Right-hand side, we get 3b is less than or equal to 15, and so b is less than or equal to 5. Well, we want greater than 4 and less than or equal to 5. This is easy to satisfy. So greater than 4, which is this way, and less than or equal to 5. We can actually write this as 4 is less than x, which is less than or equal to 5. It's in between 4 and 5. Number 26, 10m minus 7 is less than or equal to 17m, or negative 6m is greater than 36. I'm going to start with this one because it's easy to solve. Divide by negative 6, the sign switches. Greater than will turn to less than. Over here, we're going to end up getting negative 7 is less than or equal to 7m. Divide by 7. Negative 1 is less than or equal to m. Rearrange this as m is greater than or equal to negative 1. So you get m is greater than negative 1, greater than or equal to, or m is less than negative 6. So, making a number line. Greater than or equal to negative 1 would be this way. Less than negative 6 would be this way. And so because it's an or, we're going to get both of those. There's our answer, and there's our answer. Number 30 was negative 8 is less than 3x plus 4, which is less than 10. I'm going to try to solve this the other way that some of you may like and some of you may not like. But this is an and statement. You can break it apart. I'm going to subtract 4 from everywhere because that's what I need to get rid of in the middle. So I get negative 12 is less than 3x, which is less than 6. Now I'm going to divide everything by 3. And so you get negative 4 is less than x, which is less than 2. So you want to shade in between negative 4 and 2 with open circles. So that would be our solution. Number 32, which is the last problem. So in this, solving for x, oh, sorry, I translated this first of all. Solving for x, multiply both sides by 2. Well, 0 times 2 is still 0. And here, multiply both sides by 2. So if you want to combine these, you don't have to do this, but if you want to combine it, this would be 0 is less than x. So I just flipped this around so that 0 was on the other side. And x is less than or equal to 2. I'm going to shade between 0 and 2 with an open circle on 0, closed circle on 2. And, sorry, excuse me, that would be the final answer for that one. If you guys have any questions still, please put a star next to the ones that you want to talk about on tomorrow, Wednesday. We'll still have our quiz tomorrow. Hopefully this helps you, and the worksheet will help you even more. And you guys can ask any questions you want tomorrow, and we'll have our quiz on just compound inequality. So that's all that's on the quiz. And I will see you tomorrow.